A rooster will stop chasing the same hen within minutes. Put a new hen in the yard and he starts over, full speed, like the first one never existed. Farmers have watched this for centuries and never thought much of it. But the same pattern shows up in your bedroom, your inbox, and the palm of your hand. It gets stranger. Swap the new hen back out for the old one, and the rooster slows down again, like a switch flipped. Swap in a third hen he's never seen, and he's back at full speed once more. This isn't about the hen at all. Something inside him is responding to a category, not a creature. And whatever that something is, it doesn't stay quiet in the hen house. Have you noticed how a new phone feels faster than your old one, even when the specs are nearly the same? Have you noticed how a fresh notification pulls your eyes down before you've decided to look? Scientists spent decades trying to name the thing that makes the old feel dull and the new feel electric. In the 1950s, a psychologist named Frank Beach ran experiments on male rats placed with the same female again and again. Mating behavior dropped fast. Within a handful of rounds, the male barely responded at all. Then Beach swapped in an unfamiliar female. The male's interest snapped back almost instantly, as if no decline had ever happened. Beach wasn't the one who gave the effect its popular name. That came from an old story about President Calvin Coolidge touring a farm with his wife. As the story goes, Mrs. Coolidge asked the farmer how the rooster managed to mate so many times a day. The farmer told her the rooster used a different hen every time. She reportedly said, "Tell that to the president." When the president heard, he asked the farmer, "Same hen every time?" The farmer said, "No, a different one each time." Coolidge said, "Tell that to Mrs. Coolidge." The anecdote stuck, and researchers borrowed the name for something they were now finding across nearly every mammal they tested: sheep, cattle, hamsters, primates. The pattern barely changed, but naming a pattern isn't the same as explaining it. That took a different kind of scientist working on a different kind of question. In the 1990s, a neuroscientist named Wolfram Schultz was recording individual brain cells in monkeys while they waited for a reward. He expected dopamine to fire when the reward arrived. Instead, he found something almost the opposite. Dopamine fired hardest when the reward was unexpected. Once the monkey learned to predict the reward, the dopamine response at delivery faded almost to nothing. The chemical wasn't celebrating the reward. It was reacting to being surprised by it. Schultz called this a prediction error. Your brain builds a model of what's coming. When reality matches the model, dopamine barely moves. When reality breaks the model, in either direction, dopamine spikes. This is where the rooster and the president and the phone in your hand all meet. A familiar mate is a solved prediction. The brain has already modeled her, and there's nothing left to fire for. A new one is an open question. And open questions are exactly what dopamine evolved to chase. Kent Berridge, a researcher at the University of Michigan, pushed this further and found dopamine isn't even the chemical of pleasure the way people assume. It's the chemical of wanting. Liking and wanting run on separate circuits in the brain, and you can want something intensely without liking it much at all once you get it. That gap is the whole trick behind novelty. The new hen, the new match, the new notification, the new tab. Your brain doesn't need it to be better. It just needs it to be unresolved. Think about how this plays out somewhere that has nothing to do with mating at all. You open your phone 11 times in an hour. Not because any single check delivers much, but because each one is a tiny unresolved prediction. Might be a message, might be nothing. Your dopamine system doesn't grade the outcome in advance, so it fires for the possibility, not the payoff. Streaming platforms know this. That's why the next episode autoplays before you finish digesting the last one, keeping the prediction open instead of letting it close. Online stores know this too. A wishlist item you already own barely registers. A new arrival in the same category, something you don't even need, pulls your eye first. It shows up in relationships in a quieter, more uncomfortable way. Long-term partners often describe a strange guilt around this exact thing, catching their attention drift towards someone unfamiliar, not because the new person is better, but because they're a mystery still being solved. The old partner, the one who has been fully modeled and mapped by years of familiarity, simply has less prediction error left to give. That's not a moral failure. That's a nervous system doing exactly what Beach's rats did, what Schultz's monkeys did, what the rooster in the old story did. Novelty isn't a character flaw. It's a very old circuit that has no idea it's sitting inside a smartphone or a marriage instead of a farmyard. Here's the part most people miss. The fading isn't a flaw in the relationship, the job, or the object. It's the brain doing exactly what it's supposed to do once something becomes fully known. The discomfort of that fading is often mistaken for the relationship going wrong, when it's really prediction going right. Your brain solved the puzzle. Of course, it's quieter now. The mistake isn't feeling the fade. The mistake is assuming the fade means something is broken, instead of recognizing it as the signature of familiarity itself. Once you can name what's happening, you get to choose differently. You can chase the next new thing over and over, resetting the prediction error each time and never staying anywhere long enough to build anything. Or you can learn to manufacture your own small unknowns inside something familiar. New routines with an old partner. New questions about an old subject. New angles on a job you've done for a decade. You don't need a new hen. You need a reason for your brain to still be guessing. So the next time your phone buzzes and your hand moves before your mind catches up, remember the rooster in that old farmyard story. He was never chasing a better hen. He was chasing the one thing his brain hadn't already solved. You're doing the same thing, just with a screen instead of a hen house, and now you know exactly why. The rooster never got smarter about it. You can. The brain has many more tricks like this. Subscribe if you want to understand the next one before it understands you.